We talked earlier tonight about workplace bullying, particularly from the bosses in workplaces. Now we're talking with David Olcott about workplace incivility. I'm not sure which subsumes the other, workplace bullying or workplace incivility. So let's get a good description. I guess incivility probably is employee to employee as opposed to bullying its boss to employee. Is that the distinction here?
That's a very good start, Dan, for sure.
Welcome, David. What's going on?
Not too much, man. Just enjoying this beautiful new weather coming in. Loving it.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. So workplace incivility is spiraling as companies want their employees to return to office and layoffs. I mean, you haven't had any workplace incivility because everybody's been working from home. How can companies get a handle on this problem?
Yeah, and you're going to have to be reintroduced to your employees again because they are returning from another workplace into your new place, and they're not happy. First of all, they want to be able to stay at home and have the conveniences that go along with that, the traffic, all the other stuff. And the truth is, man, we've been spoiled over the last couple of years. I know that doesn't feel like we've been spoiled, but that's basically what's been happening is we've really had a huge opportunity as employees to be able to work out of the office. And now that we're having to return, we're really having to make that adjustment, and we just need some help to be able to do that.
So is the incivility caused because everybody's kind of upset that they're back in the office atmosphere, or is it that there's always going to be a few quote unquote people who want to take advantage of a bad situation and stir the pot? Which is it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both of those sides. You know, we're going back into this place. We've had this wonderful, opportunity to be able to stay at home, do the things, work kind of our own hours, get the job done, that kind of stuff. And then we're coming back in place. The folks that are making the biggest upset about this are the ones who do not want to come back to work. The rest of us are just dealing with, hey, this is the workplace. We're coming back. We've got to be able to perform, and this is the best place to do it. So that incivility that's happening is between those two groups of employees. And now the managers are having to deal with that contentiousness, which is they've got all the other customers to deal with. Now they're dealing with this civility issues within their own employees.
And what responsibility is it? I don't want to mix this segment with the segment we did earlier with Steve McClatchy, which is bullying. What responsibility is it? Because he was talking about bosses bullying employees. What responsibility is it for good bosses to realize that, hey, there's some incivility going on here? I mean, are they just happy to have people back in the office?
It's imperative, Dan, about this because it's part of the perceptual reality of every great manager to be able to be aware of how the behavior is supporting the culture, if you will, is being sustained or not being sustained. That's the very first job of the manager, is to make sure that stays in place because that culture is what's sustaining the vision. And the vision is what you develop in the marketplace, right, and the solution to the problem. So all those things connect. So if you start having real issues like this incivility, at this social cultural issue, it's going to have its ripple effects into the marketplace and your customers, and they're going to leave.
Wow. What percentage, I don't know if you've done a study on this, but what percentage of workplaces are, do you think are having this problem? Is this the exception to the rule, or from what you understand the rule at this point?
Yeah, well, what's amazing about the survey that just came out about this was like 37% of workers reported some kind of toxic workplace. And a third of them said the group was their boss was to blame. So that's a significant, that's 1,000 workers, from the survey that really worked, participated in the survey. And that's not, the millions of people in business, but that's a pretty amazing snapshot of what's really going on as we re-enter this new workplace mode and what really does need to be focused on.
Okay, since you're my expert tonight on workplace incivility, is it either your opinion or are there statistics to back up the fact that the incivility is greater now than it was before COVID hit? I mean, if we talk about February of 2020 as pre-COVID, and we talk about April of 2025 as post-COVID return to the workplace, is it worse, a little better, or about the same? Or has it, my suspicion is it could be worse if you're adding into the chemical the analysis, people don't want to be there in the first place. That's what I'm saying.
Right. No, as a matter of fact, I think your perception is really what on pace is what we talk to employers every single day, is that there is a much worse case scenario because people are just really battling this, going back to the workplace and being held accountable. And that's what's really stirring the pot, because they've been at home, they've been doing their tasks, they've been getting their work done, but this new kind of coming back in the workplace and having these managers kind of helicopter over them and, hey, what are you doing? And let me check, how many times you're printing up this, report or whatever, these helicopter manager kind of concepts, that really does stir the pot in that culture.
So the incivility is, I guess the bullying and the incivility, we conclude, are kind of two sides of the same coin. As I say, we talked with Steve McClatchy, who is a training consultant primarily for bosses. But it sounds to me like this is kind of the different side of the same coin, that the bosses are bullying and also being incivil or uncivil.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you sit back and say, why are the bosses bullying people? What's their outcome? And it's usually about some level of control they don't feel that they have, right? They're in fear. What's the employee doing? Well, they're in fear as well. So you're wanting to be able to manage through fear based upon someone who's already in fear. You can that just creates all kinds of chaos by itself.
I want you to know, David, that I'm doing this show and have been doing this show remotely now for several years. I'm really much happier doing the show remotely. I mean, and I'm very happy, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that my company is letting me do this. But I, they agreed to it in my contract, actually, and it saves a lot of my commute. I was in my office what was my office today for the first time in several months. And everybody was lovely. The spirit was good, and maybe they should just keep it that way. I don't know. David, tell us, how can folks get in touch with you? You're the CEO of something called Samurai Success. I know that's alliterative, but when I think of Samurai Success, I think of some guy with a sword.
Well, it's funny because our book is actually about the swords of illumination, which is about a lot of these things when we deal with human beings, about how we react and how we respond and how to change that behavior on your own kind of stuff. So that's what the book is about. But SamuraiSuccess.com is the best way to reach us. And funny, you mentioned it so beautifully, is that samurai, loosely translated, means in service of others. So Samurai Success is in service of others' success, and that's what we do.
Oh, okay. I always think of the guys with the samurai swords doing battle. that's the image that it's in my. I don't know. I could be wrong. Hey, David Olcott, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. You're a good sport, and we talked about a tough subject in a positive way. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan. Talk to you soon.
I'll be back.